So first I want to say thank you so much for entering the pumpkin art contest. And second of all, congrats for winning. Today I will be doing the Samhain reading for you. I know you had a lot of questions and I will do my best to answer them, but I have a feeling that the cards today are going to tell you things that you don't necessarily want to know, but you need to know. And the reason for this is the deck that wanted to speak with you today, it's actually a newer deck of mine. I've only had it a few weeks. But it is the Past Life Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. They just came out, I think it was the 14th or 15th of October, sometime in there. So they are still a pretty new deck. And I am still learning how to work with them, but I should warn you, they are very straightforward and very blunt in their answers. So prepare yourself. But alright, let me go ahead and show you what I've got out today. Over here I have a white tea light candle burning to represent spirit. Mine, yours, and spirit in general, the spirits of everybody around you, living or non-living. As for crystals, right here I have my beautiful selenite tower, and selenite will attract pretty much any positive energy that you can imagine. Right in front of that, you probably can't see it, I have a beautiful little turquoise to represent the divine. Black tourmaline for deflecting negativity, and black tourmaline is actually a really good protective stone because it is one that you don't need to cleanse. It does not hold on to energies. Instead, what it does is it kind of builds a barrier around the user, or in this case around the reading table. Spirit quartz for spiritual energy, spiritual healing, spiritual journeys, pretty much anything that falls under the category of spirit. This is an odd stone that I felt really drawn to add to the reading. This is rhodonite, which is used for recovering things or abilities that have been lost. So when I picked up this crystal, I got the impression that the Samhain season for you is going to be all about taking your power back. I know that the situation you're in right now, you're almost caged, more or less. And so what that tells me is that you have been slowly giving away your personal power. And so this season is going to be all about you taking it back in ways that are not going to harm you or anybody around you. Excuse me. Right here I have a fire agate, which is the fire of life. It is the spark within the spirit that keeps us going, that keeps us inspired, that keeps us ready to face the world. And when you give away your power, you give away that spark. You give away that desire to live. And so that is something else that you need to get back. Anyway, right here I have a beautiful fluorite, which is used for balancing energies. Moonstone, which is really good for connecting to the divine feminine, both on a spiritual level and on a very personal level. Right here I have a tiger's eye, which is good for strength, stamina, courage, all of that good stuff. It's kind of a warrior stone. Howlite, which is one of my absolute favorites. Something that I should probably note about this particular crystal, all of the workings, spiritual workings that I have done have told me that Buffalo considers this stone to be very sacred to him. And so when you work with howlite, undyed howlite. In a sense, you are working with buffalo. And buffalo is very much, he's wise, he is very giving, he's very earthy, very healing. And so if you are in that kind of position where you are giving of yourself but not really taking in return, a lot of times buffalo will show up to remind you of the importance of balancing what you give with what you take. A couple years ago, my father had a massive heart attack. If I had not been there to call 911, he would be dead right now. And it was about a week before that happened that Buffalo came to me. And so he helped me get through that few months after Dad had his heart attack. And so, you know, if Buffalo comes to you, whether it's in a dream or he continuously shows up in symbols on TV, you know, anything like that, pay attention, because he may be trying to work with you. Anyway, right back here I have a beautiful obsidian crystal. Obsidian is a very protective crystal, but it is also a scrying crystal because it is such a beautiful black polished stone. A lot of people use it to scry, to look into the future, to divine the universe, basically. And even though I didn't feel you needed the protection, I felt like the stone wanting to be included in your reading was its way of trying to tell you that divination of any sort would be beneficial to you right now. I know that money is really tight, so you can't really afford pendulums or tarot cards or anything like that, but you do have internet access, so if you can get your hands on just a normal deck of playing cards, you know, the 52 card deck, look it up online. You can actually use a normal playing deck as a fortune-telling deck. It's a very classic form of gypsy fortune-telling, and it costs virtually nothing. You can go up to the dollar store and get 2 packs of playing cards for $1, you know. So it's very cost efficient and it's very, very accurate. I have tried that form of divination a couple of times, and it does take some getting used to, but like this deck right here, the cards will be very blunt and very straightforward with their answers. So I think that that might be an alternative for you to look into, and if you have any questions, you know, you can always come to me. But like I said, there are a lot of sources online that can basically walk you through playing card fortune telling. So, but okay. Right here I have amethyst, which is really good for psychism, clairvoyance, and divination. Right here I have a very large, very beautiful piece of, peacock ore. And what a lot of people use peacock ore for is psychism and clairvoyance and divination. So it's really good for that. But I like to use it for breaking down barriers, basically. For overcoming obstacles, for tearing down illusions, I guess is the way that you could put it. So this is a really good one. I believe this great big chunk was in a $5 box at my local rock shop. So you can basically get it anywhere that you can find crystals. And it's actually not a very expensive one. Right next to it I have a rather large piece of pyrite. Pyrite is a very, very heavy crystal because it's actually a type of metal. but the way that it's formed, it's considered a crystal. It falls under a specific category. But pyrite can be used as a protective stone, but for the most part, it is a luck bringer. One of the folk names for it is actually fool's gold, because it's not actually gold, so it's not worth anything money-wise, but it is the bringer of luck. The changer of fortunes, I guess you could say. So that might actually be a really good one for you to look into. And pyrite is another one you can find pretty much anywhere that you would look for crystals. I know a few people who have actually found pyrite crystals just walking in nature, especially anywhere that is extremely rocky, that may have caves with natural crystal sources and all of that. So that might be another one for you to look into. Last but not least, I have my beautiful clear quartz, which is used for clarity and illumination. And clear quartz is unique in that it can be charged for any purpose. So, excuse me. Again, this crystal, you can find these pretty much wherever. This one, I believe, is called a terminated quartz, which means it's been cut and shaped and polished. But if you can find what's called a geode and crack it open, you will actually find clear quartz crystal is very, very, very abundant in nature. One of the guys that my mother works with, he collects rocks. And so what he will do is he will go down and walk along the river and pick up any geodes that he finds, and he will break them open, polish them up, and put them on display. He actually gave me a couple of geodes that he found a couple months ago, and when he broke them open, they were full of little clear quartz clusters on the inside. So, I mean, this crystal is very abundant. You can find it pretty much anywhere, and it can be charged for any purpose. So that is definitely a stone that I would recommend you get somehow. Whether you look for it in nature or you go online, you can get them for, I think, like 50 cents a piece online or something like that. Go to a, mineral shop, anything like that. They are very, very plentiful, and unless you get the ones that have been cut and polished 100 times over, they can be very, very cheap. So, alright, and back here, you probably can't see it from the angle of the camera, but I have a stick of new moon incense burning. Or full moon incense burning. I'm sorry. But the full moon is a symbol of the divine feminine. So it is a symbol of power, of personal feminine power. And every single person on this planet has both masculine and feminine power, whether they decide to utilize it or not. And so I'm hoping the cards will tell us this, but I am thinking that your masculine and feminine energies within your spirit may be out of balance, because there is a lot of divine feminine power just in the crystals that I chose for you. So that may be something that you want to work on. A lot of times the masculine energies will be protective. They will be not necessarily aggressive, but when push comes to shove, they can be very easily aggravated, I guess is the best way to put it. And I know this because I have been forced to work with both my feminine and masculine energies on my own path. And when they are out of balance, you suffer and everyone around you suffers, because it's the hormones. Your energies affect your hormones, and your hormones affect your mood. They affect your body. They affect the people around you, because we emit hormones, and so we end up absorbing hormones from other people. And so based on that is how we react. If the hormones we receive are more masculine, we may perceive them as aggressive or just downright moody, especially in a woman. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I will go ahead and start shuffling, thinking about you and what you need to know, what you should be focusing on this Samhain season. This reading is 8 cards, so bear with me. This is probably going to be a pretty lengthy reading. And the cards will let me know when they are ready to be read. Sorry, sometimes the cards take a little longer to get themselves in order. Okay, so the first card in this reading is the moon, or your guiding light. So basically what it is that you are fighting for. And we have trust and faith. So, this deck is actually the past life deck, or the past life oracle. And so every card in the deck represents a specific part of a past life that will be affecting you now. And so this is what you have been working towards, and what it is that you are wanting to achieve more than anything. And it is probably from, past lives or a specific past life, and it is still haunting you, which is evident in your current relationship. The trust factor is very, very, very iffy. But in terms of faith, I can tell just from our messages back and forth that you do have faith in a higher power, but your faith in people is what needs to be restored. And the starting point in that is restoring faith in yourself. That you are capable and just overall able to take on what you set your mind to, regardless of the opinions of others. And based on the messages that you've sent me just in the last couple of weeks, I can already see you, stepping into that role of the self-healer, of taking that on, where you are beginning the cycle of self-healing, because you are simply refusing to let these people in your life walk all over you. And you are laying down the line and saying, okay, this is what I need from you, and if I can't get it from you, then I can't trust you. Plain and simple. And that is the first step in self-healing, because it makes you step back and look at yourself. Look at how you act. Look at what needs you have that you actually respond to. So this is what your path is leading you to. So, all right. The second card is a glimpse into your future. And we have trees. So, trees are, as I'm sure you know, one of nature's greatest, I don't want to say inventions, but one of nature's greatest offspring. Trees are the reason that we are alive. They produce oxygen. During the summer months, they produce much needed shade. They give us the wood to build our houses, to build our fires. But they are also wonderful, wonderful teachers. I know there are a few trees that I've come across in my lifetime that have been that for me. They have been teachers. They have been guides. They have been helpers. And one of them is actually in my backyard. I grew up with that tree, so when we came back here, I immediately had to go and reconnect with that tree. But looking into the future, this is where you want to be. I'm telling you. The cycle of spirit, personal spirit to universal spirit, is like a tree. I'm sure you've heard of the tree of life, and that's basically what it is. Where we are would be right about in the center of the trunk, between the spirit world and the underworld. And so, I mean, that's where you want to be, but you want to become more aware of both sides, that spirit world and the underworld. Because without one or the other, there would be no balance. There would be no reason for being. And I don't know why, but I'm being reminded to, or I'm being told to remind you about the yin-yang symbol. On that symbol, the white is the female, I believe, and the black is the male. But when you look at it, there's a dot of white in the black and a dot of black in the white. And so in that symbol, there is absolute balance. But it is also a circle, and the circle is a symbol for never-ending life, for never-ending balance and seeming imbalance. And because, like I said, without one or the other, there would not be balance between the spirit world and the underworld. So what we perceive as light and dark, there has to be a balance, especially within our own personal spirits. And so maybe doing some meditation work on trees and how they function not only biologically but spiritually might really be a big help to you, because that is where you should be, in the future. This is the glimpse into your future. So that is where you should be going, is to that place of balance and learning. Alrighty. So card 3 is the Lantern, or what it is that's actually spurring you forward, what it is that is lighting the path before you. And the path was trees. So what is it that is lighting that path for you? And we have male, female. So a lot of times when this card will show up, what it's actually indicating is in a past life you were either male or female, and then in this life you are a different gender, or vice versa. But this card also indicates the need for balance between the masculine and feminine energies. And so you and your partner, with your partner, I have actually, the impression that I get from your messages to me, the impression that I get of him is not necessarily imbalance, but it's not entirely masculine either. And a lot of people are like that, where they actually have and know how to utilize both their masculine and feminine energies. These people are very few and far between because of the way that society has dictated what a man is and what a woman should be. And so use your relationship, use your partner as a way to find that balance of masculine and feminine within you, and sure enough, it should help him too. Because it is very confusing to be one gender and feel more like you should have been the other gender. Or, to have the other gender's, what's the word I'm looking for? Tendencies. There we go. And here I am speaking from personal experience, with a lot of the past life work that I have done. I have discovered several memories, several lifetimes where I was male. And right about the time that I would remember those lifetimes, I would feel very masculine. I would feel very aggressive and very protective and very overly logical. So basically all the negative aspects of masculine energy. But once you uncover those kinds of things, that energy will subside back into balance. And so since you have taken on the role of mother and father, essentially, it is important to use your partner as the equalizer in your household. And I know that he can't always be there all the time, but the fact that he keeps bringing up marriage tells me that he's wanting to be there all the time. And when somebody wants something that badly, they will find a way to make it work. So, but, alright. Card number 4 in this reading is any illusions that are put before you that need to be brought down. We have Orphan. So what this card usually means is, or symbolizes, is abandonment and the feeling of being completely alone, being completely helpless, that you can't do anything for yourself because an orphan is a child. or a minor, if they're a teenager, that, because they are a child, they can't support themselves. And so that is the illusion that is surrounding you right now, that you cannot get yourself out of the situation, that you cannot really make it better, that you can't support the life that you have built for yourself. Every lifetime comes with challenges, and this lifetime is no different. Look for the similarities in everything that has been put before you, and that right there will be the life lesson that you were supposed to be focusing on this time around. Look at your relationship with your partner, look at your relationship with your children, look at your relationship with your parents, with your partner's parents, look at your physical health, look at your mental health. Anything that comes as a challenge is going to have a key point, but when these challenges are affecting us personally, the only way that we can really stop and figure out what that key point, what that lesson is to stop and compare them. And I know that that is one of the most difficult things on earth, but trust me, it really, really does help. Whether you do it through meditation or through a writing exercise or through a therapist, whatever way that works for you, maybe taking on the playing card, the gypsy card reading form of divination is what will actually walk you through and help you figure out what the key point is and all of the challenges that have been put on you right now. It's the illusion that is at the top of the list right now that you need to break down is that feeling of I can't do this. I can't support myself. I can't support my family. I can't, I don't have anybody that is going to help me with this. While that may be true, that there's nobody that can help you with it, you have to find that place inside that urges you to keep going, because every challenge has an ending. Every problem has a solution. And 9 times out of 10, we aren't going to know what it is until we give it up to our own higher power, which is directly linked to the divine higher power. So whatever way that works for you, stop and compare all of the challenges before you and find that one key factor, and that's going to be the lesson that you need to focus on right now. So, alrighty. Card 5 is the bones or ancestry. So it's kind of taking a look into your past, whether it's past lives or your family, heritage, anything like that. We have the arts. So the arts are, anything from music to painting to writing, dancing, and anything like that. It can be a silent art, if you write in your spare time, or it can be a performing art, such as singing in front of a crowd or playing the violin on stage, anything like that. this is, to me, one of the 2 cards in this reading that gives you guidance from your higher self, or the self that remembers past lives, but also from your personal ancestors or your personal guides. And so this is where your ancestry lies. And it does, like I said, it doesn't have to be a performing art, but something that helps you release. I personally like to write, and I really, really like to sing, but I don't do it in front of other people. It's something that I do for me. And when I sit down and I write, a 3-page story, I feel really, really good for a while. It's not something that has to be done every day. It's just something that has to be done for you. Sing in the shower, sing, or, dance around the house while you clean. Take 10 or 15 minutes before bed and journal about your day. Make it seem as romantic or as horrific or whatever as you want. It's your creativity, essentially. And that is what you are being reminded to work with right now. Okay, so the next card is the bonfire, or what needs to be cleansed. And we have Father. So this is something that I understand completely, having daddy issues. And this may be where a lot of your problems are coming from. Is something that you haven't dealt with in terms of your parents, particularly your father. But it could also stem from having to take on the role of father for your kids. And as a single mother, I understand how difficult that is, because my mom was a single mom. And I went a lot of years without having any kind of contact with my dad whatsoever. It wasn't until I got to about high school that he really started trying to be part of my life. And part of me still holds a grudge for that. But it's not as strong as it was. And I have healed a lot from it. And doing the same will probably have a very, very positive impact on your situation. Because the emotions that we tend to store away, that we decide not to think about, that we don't want to face, we don't want to have to experience, they tend to manifest as problems in our lives, because we cannot hold on to everything. We are human. And so all of the emotions that we have been blessed and cursed with will leak out. And when that happens, things happen. So, I'm not sure which one it is, whether it's the relationship with your father or having to take on the role of father yourself. One of those two, you need to deal with it, and deal with it as soon as you can. I'm not saying deal with it as quickly as possible, but as soon as you think you might be ready, excuse me, that is the time to, take a hot bath, relax yourself so that you can focus on those things and start the healing process. Alrighty. Card number 7 is the veil, or what is being revealed to you at this time. High priest or priestess. Like I said, I have a feeling that this season is going to be entirely about you taking your power back. And the most powerful, spiritually powerful humans are a lot of times priests or priestesses. I want to say witches, but a lot of witches consider themselves priestesses or priests if they're male. And so what is being revealed to you right now is that personal power, is that you do have the power to make everything work. It's just getting past all of the little obstacles and finding the key factor in all of them. So yes, let me come back to that. The final card is actual guidance from your spirit guides, from your ancestors, from your own higher self or the divine. And we have knighthood. So basically, you have been called to be a spiritual warrior. And in a past life, if you were male, it is very possible that you were a warrior within your community, that you were the protector, which is why you feel the need now to protect the people around you. It's actually a pretty common thing. A lot of people have the same, not issue, but character trait, personality trait. And it does stem from being put in that position in a past life. For example, one of my past lives, when I was female, I was actually put in the position of warrior. I was one of the protectors of my village, okay? And so now in this lifetime, when I really start to care about somebody, I will do everything in my power to protect them from anything, from disease, from other people, from basically anything. One of my really close friends, I've known her since we were 7. I have been really upset with her lately because she's been making a lot of really stupid decisions. Like staying out all night drinking when she has to be to work the next day. Things like that. Flirting with other guys when she's getting married in about 4 months. Little things like that. But I know that there's nothing I can do for her in terms of that because we are not the same people. We're grown women now, and she's capable of making her own decisions. And so that is the point where you're at, where you have to realize you are a grown woman that can make your own decisions, but the other people around you are also grown adults that are capable of making their own decisions. But your children are like your village, okay? It is your responsibility and your right to defend them in whatever way you see fit. And I know that your partner understands that to a point, but he also needs to understand that it's his responsibility to protect his kids as well. So this is your call to be a spiritual warrior, to bring light in the dark, so to speak, and to stand as a symbol of protection for yourself and for your family. So, and that is where this High Priestess card comes in. You have got to get your personal power back. So, but anyway, I really do hope that this helps, and I am wishing you a very, very blessed Samhain season. Please keep me updated. If you have any further questions, you can always shoot me a message. Right now I'm going to deactivate my Facebook for a while, just because I need some time away from mainstream media and all of that. But I will definitely let you know when I come back to it. But like I said, I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'm wishing you a very blessed Samhain season, and I hope to hear from you soon.